And we welcome the former governor of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura, is with us on The Issue Is. He currently hosts a show called The World According to Jesse. That is on RT America every Friday. His latest book is called Jesse Ventura's Marijuana Manifesto: How Lies, Corruption, and Propaganda Kept Cannabis Illegal. Jesse Ventura, welcome to The Issue Is.
Great to be here.
Good to have you here. All right, let's start our conversation by talking about President Trump. Sort of, how do you view him right now? What's your take on the Trump administration?
Well, when I won my election in '98, he immediately came there. And he pretty well used a lot of our playbook to accomplish what he did. And I'll state that by, instead of doing fundraisers, he did rallies. That's what I did. I only raised $300,000 to be governor of Minnesota.
Wow.
And I actually made more money doing the job than I spent to get it. No one can say that but me. But anyway, he learned that from us. And but today, I don't like him at all. I would much prefer Donald Trump, the con man real estate guy, rather than Donald Trump, who I now view as the con man president. And I come at him from a viewpoint of the military and my being a veteran. When he came out and said he deserved the Congressional Medal of Honor and he should give it to himself, I know 2 Congressional Medal of Honor winners. One of them gave up a limb. And to me, anyway, you don't joke about, you don't make, this is a guy who avoided and was a draft dodger. In fact, I'll tell you this, I live by a simple premise today. I don't want a religious person telling me about government. I don't want a government person telling me about religion. And I don't want a draft dodger telling me what's patriotic.
So, when he did come to Minnesota, and do you think he was sort of studying you? Was he thinking of what he could do? What was your relationship like with him?
Well, we were friends. I mean, I actually went to dinner with him once. I think he could have sold tickets. I don't remember, I can't remember now who his arm piece was at the time, but it was him, his arm piece, and me and Woody Harrelson. I think he could have sold tickets to that, to be an observer to that. It was a great night. As an individual person, I found him very nice. But I'm talking now as my president, my commander-in-chief, this guy who claims to have had bone spurs, got out of the Vietnam War because of it, and he's now the commander-in-chief of all the military, and then says, he made the statement too, I could have been a general. He couldn't even do one day a boot camp to be a private. And I'll speak to this. Every enlisted guy in the nation who's ever gone to boot camp, I don't care what service it is, the first night at boot camp, there's one person there who will break down, wet their pants, cry for their mom, and throw tantrums. The authorities will come in the middle of the night, they'll remove that person. You'll never hear or see, or you never know what happened to them. Donald Trump would have been that person.
Okay, so I know you've said that he's very corrupt.
No, I'm not saying he's corrupt. I'm saying he's corrupt in the fact that he never tells the truth, and that's the style that's corruption in itself.
Are you done with politics, and is there a part of you that wants to run against him?
I worked in a unique place in the military, and my unit, we always survived on the element of surprise. And politics, that will apply to that too. I may be doing things right behind the scenes right now. You got to wait for the pikers to leave. You got to wait for it to get down to 2. Then you come in, if you're going to come in. And when it's down to 2, the good thing will be, if I were to do it now, they can't use that old cliche excuse. Oh, we can't have 3 people on the stage. That's too many. How are they going to say that now when they've had nights of 10 and 10 up there?
I mean,
that excuse is gone now.
Do you think any of the Democrats are worth supporting?
I'm not going to venture into that at all. That's an individual position. If you're a Democrat, I don't vote for Democrats or Republicans, but I will tell you this. we must, this election, elect an independent. And I'll explain why. If you elect a Democrat or Republican, will you agree we're polarized? The worst we've been probably since the Civil War, I would imagine. Well, if you elect a Dem or Repub, the polarization is going to continue. Ladies and gentlemen, and you, I have the experience. I'm the independent. I came in with a Republican House and a Democratic Senate. When I got elected, it generally went whichever one I sided with initially prevailed. Then you will get to the third year. The third year is when they will jump in bed together to oppose the common sense middle, and then if I did it, that would reunite the country then, wouldn't it? My job would be done. The only way the country's going to get reunited is to elect an independent president.
So if it's not you, then who is it?
I don't know.
So then do you feel a need to do it in order to serve your country?
I have that voice in the back of my head that says to me, if not you, then who? It's there.
Yeah.
It's there. But whether I do it, I'm 68 now. Do I really want to spend and have to do this? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know right now. I'll go to Mexico this winter. I'll live off the grid for 3 months. You thought it was hard to find me now. Try finding me there. And it'll be at that time I will come to some decision.
Well, speaking of finding you, I think you're referencing the fact you don't own a cell phone.
No.
How do you even survive like that?
Easy. Makes life wonderful. You pay attention to the things around you. You know, there is a world going on other than that screen.
There is?
Yeah. Very good. Very good. No, I've never owned one. People often said to me, how could you be governor without a cell phone? I said, easy. I had 2 Secret Service trained state troopers who were with me 24/7. They had them.
Yeah.
Well, if you need me, call. That way it gives you a screener.
But you don't have that now.
No. Well, guess what? They don't know where well, only if they're watching here do they know where I'm at. When I leave here, nobody in the government will know where Jesse Ventura is.
And you got a tweet you put out. I still don't own a cell phone, so I won't be doing any gene editing or putting chips in my brain anytime soon. Let's talk about some of the issues.
Sure.
Marijuana. You wrote a whole book about marijuana legalization.
Yep.
Some of the presidential candidates now calling for marijuana legalization. What do you see as the biggest impediment to that happening? And do you think that that is something that will happen within the next 10, 15 years?
So. I sure hope so, because I'm going to tell you a story that I have not told on public, but I have permission to do so. Cannabis gave me my life back. My life was gone. It was destroyed. Not me personally. My wife of 44 years, the First Lady of Minnesota, developed late life seizure disorder. She was put on 4 different kinds of seizure medication by pharma, one after the other. None of them worked. All had horrible side effects. In desperation, we drove to Colorado. I had friends there. We got the drops under the tongue. I can happily say today now she can get it in Minnesota under the medical baloney, but she now has been seizure-free for 4 years and is completely weaned off all pharma, and cannabis did this. So you can tell my passion. I came out and said this. I think the people that outlawed cannabis all these years from us, they should go to jail for outlawing. This is a medical plant that even has the same cannabinoid structure as a human, which shows it's meant for us. And if you're a religious person, excuse me, didn't God make it?
Some other issues.
Now you understand why I am so compelled. There are other people out there suffering right now. There's veterans. It helps. And do you know what the latest is showing? Everywhere they've done full legalization, children's use is dropping, not getting bigger, because they can't get it as good. They can outduel the dealers and sell it cheaper. And if you go in here in California, you got to show 2 IDs, don't you? Twice. Kids can't get in there.
Yeah. Although the black market's also still doing well here in California.
But not really, because they get an undercutting price.
Climate change.
Yes.
Another huge passion of yours. Where do you see that going?
I
mean, you see
see
this big fight right now. California is battling it out with the federal government over the issue of emissions and cars.
And I'd like to know from the Republicans, I thought they were states' rights people. For everything else, they're all states' rights. Now, all of a sudden, the hell with the states. We're not going to let them. No, climate, I will tell you this. If I were to become the president, let's say it that way, these wars in the Middle East would end. I take my foreign policy from Major General Smedley Butler, who wrote the book War is a Racket, because war is that. It is a racket. It's a money-making scheme done by the military-industrial complex. Our soldiers don't fight for the United States. They fight for the corporations. You brought me on here. You're going to suffer for it. But anyway, so to me, I would start a war on the climate and a war on pollution. I live in Mexico. I'm watching the oceans die before my very eyes. I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. If the oceans die, we die.
Let's talk about something from your past is the WWE, which is about to debut right here on Fox.
Yeah.
What do you make of wrestling today? And is there any part of you that wants to do that again?
Never.
Yeah.
The business has changed. It's like anything. I'm the older style. Where it's going to head to, I'm not involved anymore. I don't watch it because it has changed from when I was there, and I liked our style better. The way we did it a little more back in the 80s and prior to that when it was all the territory. But it's still a thriving business. I wish them all well. I will say this. It's about time. I tried to do it. Will someone please step into the wrestling business and stop this lie that they're independent contractors? They're not independent. They can't work for other people. They're owned exclusively by the WWE, and yet they get no benefits, nothing whatsoever. Did you know there was a time I wrestled 63 consecutive nights in a row? Now, if you had a union, you wouldn't be abused that way, would you?
Well, and of course, California has a new thing called AB5, which is about gig workers, Uber, Lyft, other people, to allow them to start to unionize, which just passed here in the state.
Absolutely.
Let's do something called the name game. This is where
you better get your sensor.
Okay. This is where we say some names of high-profile people and get your reaction to them.
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
President Donald Trump.
Draft-dodging coward.
Vice President Mike Pence.
Mike, what would Jesus do on that southern border?
Former President Barack Obama.
I'd like to know if he was ever actually worked in the CIA.
Oh, wow, okay. Former Vice President Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, greatest sympathy for his son Beau, who died because of the smoke pits, the new Agent Orange.
Former House Speaker, or current House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
Haven't really paid attention to. I guess I'd say calculating about her.
Former Governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
My friend, Arnold. Well, Arnold, you know, I respect him a great deal, but I'm also still very admiring to his former wife, Maria Shriver, also. And I hated to see that occur, what happened.
Yeah. Vince McMahon, the head of WWE.
Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon proves to me you don't have to be smart to be a billionaire.
Hulk Hogan.
Office stooge.
Okay, there you go. Count on you. Let's do one other thing to get to know you a little bit better. This is called Personal Issues. This is where we put 30 seconds on the clock and we get to know you a little bit better. You ready?
Okay.
Favorite book?
Favorite book of all time, Helter Skelter by Vincent Bugliosi.
Favorite holiday?
Favorite holiday? I'd say the 4th of July.
Favorite nickname?
For me, the body.
Favorite meal?
Rigatoni.
Favorite sports team?
Sports team? I would probably say the Minnesota Lynx.
Favorite Disney movie?
I don't know if God, you got to give me some options on that. I don't even know.
You're a big fan of The Lion
Old
King,
Yeller.
right? Old Yeller.
Old Yeller. Was that? I saw that as a kid. Was that a Disney?
I don't know. We'll say it was.
Old Yeller.
And your favorite song, I know this is a complicated thing, but we're going to go with one of your choices, which let's play it right now. Simple Man. Why is this your choice?
Well, because it's me. A lot of people have said to me, you're hardly a simple man because look at your career. All the things you've done. You've changed career. You've been an actor. You've been talk radio. You've been a governor. You've been a mayor. You've been in the military. But I relate to simple man because really through all that, I am still very simple. There's right and wrong. There's good and bad. And I try to keep life that way, and there's a simple way that I live, and it's politically too, and that's this. And that's probably why I can't be president, because if you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory.
Well,
I try to live by that.
You've done everything, and now you've done The Issue Is.
There we go.
So thank you for being here. And if you run for president, come back and join us.
Oh, I certainly will.
Yeah.
I imagine you'll welcome me back.
Yes, exactly. Jesse, the governor, the body, Ventura. Great to have him here. More of The Issue Is right after this. We're going to rock out a little.